bon dia, Munson here. Finally, sorry for being a little bit late this morning and tardy, but it was a bit of an audio curveball, and I don't know. I was thinking Mrs. M turned the microphone down, and it was the last thing I was thinking of checking. But now I've pressed something on my screen that says gamer mode. I'm going to have to leave it there. It's gone dim and weird. I'm sure it's fine for you. How are you anyway? Enough of my woes. How was your weekend? Did you manage a bon fin de semana, everybody? I did. Lovely weekend. And of course, as is now into the third week, the new tradition here on the Good Morning Portugal show with me, Carl Munson, from expatsportugal.com, is to share with you from 8:30 the news and weather, and of course to say hello to everybody. Matty's here. Nice to chat to you before the show, Matty. James is here. I think James is doing very well with the Portuguese, don't you? Jim's here, Jim White. And NR Aziz is here, as well as Suze, Chris, Capricorn 12, Rebel Mama's here. Great show on Friday. Thanks for joining us on Friday, as well as Victoria. We've got a most beautiful sunset from Victoria coming up in just a moment. Mark, good morning to you. Jim McDonald in Germany. Lots of love to you, Jim. Midlife Crisis World Tour. The Prof. Eusebio, of course. And let's go straight there, shall we? Because these are fantastic. Really enjoying these, Prof. Keep them coming. And Socrates becomes the first former prime minister in the history of the country to be thus accused. Oh, I've missed the first bit of that, haven't I? Okay, let's go to the beginning. Let's go to the first one, and we'll come back to Socrates. Yesterday in Portuguese history, I see what you did there. Number one, the 1881 work starts on the Dom Luís I Bridge. And it's in the opening titles, isn't it? In black and white. So 1881, work starts on the Dom Luís the first bridge, Primeiro, the iconic double-decker iron bridge between the cities of Porto and Vila Nova de Gaia. Fantastic. So we'll come back to that second one, where José Socrates was arrested in Lisbon, accused of corruption, tax evasion, and money laundering. Good heavens. We'll find out what happens next as we scroll through. Rental location service. Okay. Yes, that's to Gilda, of course, who'll be joining us around 9 o'clock. It's Monday, Visa Update Day here on the Good Morning Portugal show. But you know what? Here's the news. This to me is real news coming from Lagos this morning. We'll do the weather straight after this. But thank you very much, Victoria, for this delight this morning. Take a break from what you're doing for a moment, if you will, everybody, and just soak this up. Take this in, okay? This is the news from the south of Portugal this morning.
Good morning from Lagos. Here on the beach.
Oh my word. Isn't that amazing? Absolutely beautiful. From this very morning, live from Lagos, almost within an hour or two, I think, Victoria there, capturing the sunrise for us this morning, and delightful, absolutely. The sun came up and is shining on the righteous in the Algarve there. My own offering this morning in terms of the sun rising. Anyway, we're quite light on pictures this morning. Cue deluge of pictures and videos. Send them in, everybody. The railway line this morning. Look, it's a bit wonky. I don't have a grid pattern on my camera when I'm using WhatsApp. I still haven't cleared my phone of all the pics and videos on there. That's the sun rising across the railway tracks, the bit of track between San Martinho de Porto station and Caldas de Rainha. And from the weekend, let me share this with you. That delightful picture. The San Martinho summer continues. Not just San Martinho de Porto's summer, but the whole idea of a St. Martin's summer, which is a few weeks of summer in November here in Portugal, which is, I've experienced it for a few of the years that I've been here, but I didn't know it had an official name, which is the St. Martin's summer. There it is. And what a beautiful day it was on Saturday. And great to meet you, Matt and Isabella and the family on Saturday as well. Great to see you. Also excellent on Saturday night, we had Lonnie. Lonnie was with us on Saturday evening, Lonnie McLaughlin. A wonderful show. We talked about transformational travel, the effect travel and moving country can have on us. And ahead of Thursday's show, where we'll be looking at male mental health, I think probably male health in general, because Linda Austin quite rightly pointed out that we're chatting a lot. Well, which is interesting. We're not chatting. We're growing our tashes a lot, but we're not chatting very much, which is what it should all be about. Okay, so we're doing that on Thursday. A panel of illustrious gentlemen, I use the term loosely, will be joining me on Thursday to talk about, well, to open up. Let's see how it goes on Thursday. See if it's laden with emotional avoidance and banter, or if we will grab the emotional nettle with both hands and anything else available to us and open up and chat about, in the true spirit of Movember, this coming Thursday. So Garvo, James, Francis, who else is joining us? Stephen, who was a big inspiration, and of course Andy Gilchrist, who is making way on that day. It was going to be an interview with him about his journey from the UK to Portugal and the D7 visa process for him as a Brit, but that's going to be postponed because we all thought it would be useful in this last, what will it be? I think it'll be the last Thursday, won't it, of Movember, to really chat about it and talk about it. All very well growing the Hulk Hogan, but let's have a proper chat, which is what it's all about as well. Okay, that weather. Now, you can't be doing that. You can't be opening up the weather on the browser that you're using to do your live stream. So I'm sorry about that, in case you're wondering where I'd gone to. Let me find that weather for you now, and let's have a look. And we're having a little journey, weren't we, around Portugal? Yes, I am a bit tired this morning, by the way. And I'm still serious about this idea that we have a second weekend, all right, to recover from the official weekend. There should be another 2 days after the weekend. Monday and Tuesday should be set aside for further rest and recuperation from a great weekend that we've just had. Okay, weather then. We're making a little journey around Portugal, aren't we? We're doing the principal places, as you would expect, Lisbon, Porto, and Coimbra, and down in the south, and also a couple of other locations, a couple of other districts across Portugal to geographically educate everybody. There's more to life in Portugal than Lisbon, Porto, Coimbra, and the Algarve. In fact, Coimbra rarely gets a look in, right? So let's have a look. Let me just make sure you can still hear me all right. I think you can. Lisbon this morning, let's go straight to the Fahrenheit, shall we? 57 degrees, 52 the starting point, 57 the high. A few clouds and a bit cloudy for the rest of the week by the look of it, with a sunny day in the offing on Friday. So that's a high of 14 today and a low of 11, currently 13. Porto, 7 degrees and a nice clear sky, sunny day. But the rest of the week looking a little bit cloudy and rainy towards the end of the week there. 13 the high in Porto this morning, today, and 7 degrees the starting point. Coimbra, broken clouds. I think it's so poetic. Broken clouds. Who did it? 13 degrees the high today, 5 degrees the low, and some rain in central Portugal by the look of it, and a little glimmer of sunshine towards the end of the week, Friday. Look at that. But high, the temperatures, the highs around 11, 12, 13, and lows of 6. That temperature differential, not so great for the rest of this week. And we've been to Lagos already this morning, thanks to Victoria. 18 the high today down there, 11 the low, currently 12 with a few clouds, a little bit of sunshine peeking out from behind the clouds down there in the south of Portugal this morning. So last week we went to Aveiro, we went to Beja, Braga, Castelo Branco, Évora and Leiria, Santarém and Viseu. And look, there are other places as well. Let's look at Bragança. Wow, 2 degrees, my goodness. And Guarda, the colder parts, it would appear, of Portugal this morning. If you want to know where they are, let me scroll down a little bit further. Oh, no, let me do this for you on a different screen, actually. What are we looking at? Bragança. And what was the other thing I said just now? Who's listening? And come back to your comments in just a moment. Lots of them this morning. You started the show without me after my slight delay. But where's that regional map? Here it is. On the screen for you now. We're going up north, the northeast corner, Bragança, surrounded largely by Spain, right? Bragança, and Guarda just to the south, the next district south of Bragança, looking at that weather this morning. So right up there in the northeast of Portugal this morning. What's the weather like there? Well, funny you should ask me. Bragança is what did I say? 5 degrees this morning? No, less than that, 2. Overcast clouds, 9 degrees the high, a little bit rainy, and the low 2 starting off there. It's 2 degrees right now, apparently, in Braganza, and a cloudy, rainy week we're looking at. Further south in Guarda, 1 district down, rainy today as well. This looks to be something bigger coming out of the clouds there on that little graphic. What do you think? Or is that some sort of creature? It looks, I don't know if that's a tiny mite, scrolling itself across my screen, or if that's a new weather pattern that I've not seen before on the graphic. Maybe that's sleet. If I hold my mouse over, does it tell me any more? No, it might be a bit sleety in Guarda. 4 degrees currently with broken clouds, and a 0 degree low there. So freezing point in Guarda. Shock horror. So some of the lowest temperatures this year, possibly, up there in Guarda, northeast Portugal today. Yeah, four massive degrees of centigrade, the high today, and the low of 0, which will follow for the next couple of days. You can hear the surprise in my voice there. And Thursday, a -1 forecast on Friday. No! Layers, everybody. Serra da Estrela wool is my forecast, my tip for people there. Merino wool, somebody was talking about, not Jose Mourinho wool, merino wool. Where's that from? That's not from Portugal, is it? That's from somewhere else, possibly exotic. I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments in just a moment. So let's see what's going on. Let's see who's here this morning. Let's say hi to some folks this morning and find out how you're doing before we have a look at some news. And I got a really nice good news story actually this morning. Let me scroll right back. My goodness, you've been busy here. So yeah, Matty, James on his 30. Look, average 30 minutes per day over the last 3 days. Watch out. Haha, we can do it. And he ordered his own coffee and pastry yesterday. Me. Okay. So as in a hesitancy, not an article. Decaf, pica, pingada, por favor. I think you'd have got your message across there. And her, anything else? That's what happens. But sounds like a mission accomplished. Oh, he carries on. Me. See, it's pointing to the pastry. Very good. All in all, a good interchange. I later found out the pastry is called Bolo San Marcos, spelled yum. Tell us more. And have you got a picture there, James, of the Bolo San Marcos? That's a new one on me. I probably know it when I see it. But I've never ordered one of those or known one to be identified as such. Prof, earlier on, bom dia, amigos. Está muito frio em Stockwell. E meu edredom está me chamando. Are you going to have to help me out with an edredom and a chamando there? But Stockwell, I know, in South London there. Good morning to all in London town this morning, where it sounds like it's a little bit taters, as they say over there in London town, with their pearly king and queen jackets on. Bon dia todos. Hola Gilda. Pass that on, Jim. When the time comes, she'll be with us. And yeah, that's a good idea. The Casa Portuguesa, please tell us about your rental location service. And yes, we talked about the bridge, didn't we? Eusebio, the prof, putting that before us this morning. 1881 work started. Must have been so exciting, right, to see that emerge between the two sides of Porto across the river there. And yes, let's return to this one yesterday in Portuguese history. 2014, not so long ago, Zé Socrates was arrested in Lisbon. So you would say in an anglicized way, José Socrates, but I think Zé Socrates takes you some way to saying it in a Portuguese way, was arrested in Lisbon, accused of corruption, tax evasion, and money laundering. Honestly, in his position as well. Oh, 30 minutes from Jim this weekend. Well done, mate. And what happens next with Socrates? Became the first former prime minister in the history of the country to be thus accused. In 2017, he was formally indicted, but in 2021, the corruption charges against him were dismissed. But it goes on. We will find out a little bit later on in the thread of comments what happened next. Lesser charges. Oh, here we find out right now. Lesser charges of money laundering and falsifying documents were upheld. I wonder what it's like to be him as he goes about his business these days. Deagle's here. How was it? Were you part of the action in over there in the United Kingdom, where the midwives, understandably, were making themselves heard about the challenges they're facing in the workplace. Deagle. Bon dia, Carl, from a cold Belfast. Went to 3 degrees overnight. Woo! Cold week ahead. Snow at the weekend in Belfast. They're amazing. Jim is in Germany. Jim McDonald. Bon dia, Gumpers, from a surprisingly sunny Wiesbaden, Germany this morning. Haven't seen the sun in quite a while. Glad to see it's still here. It's still chilly, though. There's a weather report from Germany for you. Cheers, Jim. And yeah, all the best to you, mate. Seeing your message the other day, you let us know how we can help you. Oh, wait, their catchphrase was just do it. I believe Matty's talking about learning Portuguese in that context. Mark with a bon dia alegria, a simple but effective bon dia alegria there. And Francis, one of the chaps who's going to be talking, a chatting chap on Thursday. Bon dia alegria, todos. Had to catch up my weekend 45 minutes today. Como estás, todos? Very much more formal than the old tudo bem there. I hope everyone's weekend was wonderful. Yeah, not many reports from the weekend, I have to say. Hola, bon dia, peeps. Brr, this morning, but that's up in the north. And I should get 2 new wood stoves this week. Fingers crossed for you then. And those fingers won't be all cold with mittens on. They will be gloveless hands that are warmed in front of your new 2 wood stoves. Pictures, please. Do like a picture of what do they call them here? Salamander. And James to Jim, I would like to remind myself that the clouds are just what gets between me and the sun, which is always there. Absolutely. Always nice to see it in the sky, though, isn't it? That sunrise this morning you sent to us, Victoria, really changed my day, actually. Thank you for that. Bon dia alegria from Jeff Jackson as well. Good morning to you, Jeff. Sterling effort, sir. Hola, bon dia, Gumpers. Faija de Jazz Funk do Dia. Royers, you send me. Not the old classic you send me, I suspect, or maybe it is a jazzed up version of that. A lovely way for you to ease your way into a new week. Happy Monday, Super Gumpers. We've been promoted, everybody. We are Super Gumpers. Good morning, Gumpers, from Suze and your lovely companion there, whose name you shared with us on Saturday, but I forget now. Please let me know again, Suze, who that lovely creature is in the picture there. Good morning from NR Aziz. How are you? Good morning, Carl, and everyone. Beautiful sunny day here in Hertfordshire, if cold. Wrapping up and going for a walk. Walking the talk there. And from 74 Castle. Hola. Is that Chevy Chase in the picture that you've got there? Funny enough, I was watching him being interviewed by, who's that amazing legendary radio star? Howard Stern, I think, yeah. Elra Linda, morning all from Elra. How are you, Elra? She hasn't been on me with my pronunciations yet. Let's see how that, see if that persists. We spent Saturday waiting for 2 Amazon packages that never arrived. Does it get any more exciting than that in Lisbon? Today, Amazon updated the tracking to say we can apply for refunds tomorrow. Is this typical? Never heard of that. But I'm not surprised to hear that. Amazon Prime was pretty reliable in the States, our first experience. Not so much. Oh, yes, and I do have a customer service story for you, actually. Must move on and get to that news, though, before Gilda joins us. They never come when they're supposed to. Since we moved here during COVID, I have been forced to use, I thought that said COVID-1, the first phase. But since we moved here during COVID, I have been forced to use Amazon Lots, find a local drop place or store and have stuff shipped to them. No waiting. That's a great idea. That's a really good solution. Hello, lovely people from Gary Austin. But yeah, very quickly, talking of customer service here in Portugal, this person is not at all happy. Let me find this for you. And this is somebody, went into a shop to complain about the service that they received. I'm struggling to find it now. I'll have to make a complaint myself here in a minute. Come on, Messenger, what's going on? Let me see. Okay. This is, where did I see this? Yes, this was on social media, actually. The worst customer service I have ever received in Portugal. I am furious and need to warn you about the worst customer service I've ever received in Portugal. I'm not going to mention the shop's name, very well known, as I'm seeking legal advice about how to proceed. Yikes. Yesterday afternoon, I went into said shop and bought an item, paid cash, brought it home, and that evening realized it didn't work, and furthermore, was never going to work. Today, I took it back to the shop and asked for a refund. I think this must have been yesterday when this person was flaming up social media. So I took it back to the shop and asked for a refund. Without asking any questions, the sales girl said, no, absolutely not. I produced the receipt. Again, no. I asked if a replacement was possible. Again, no. I couldn't believe her attitude and asked to speak to the manager, probably the complaints book, right? Her response was even worse, had the nerve to smile at me while telling me no refund, no replacement ever. Can you believe this? I can tell you, says this person, I will never, ever buy another lottery ticket from this shop. Okay, okay. The quick look at the news then, and then we'll come back to your comments. I do hope you heard that, and that we need to link to your libro de reclamações. Stop it, Thunder! It's only a joke, man. I think people were really quite getting into that. We do like a complaint, don't we? The human nature. We've talked about this before, haven't we? We like those sorts of things. Okay, a quick look then at the Portugal news, Portugal resident, the English language news services. Let's start with the Portugal news show. I'll just do a scan of these because there's a much more important news story I want to do with you rather than all the gloom and doom. Possible mandatory, or however you might say it. I've done it in both ways, so no one need feel left out. There's probably other ways as well, aren't there? As rates of COVID-19 infections rise in Portugal and politicians and specialists meet to discuss the situation, calls to reinstate a mandatory mask wearing increase. Could be a lot worse, couldn't it? As you look around Europe overnight. Wow, I mean, things have really taken a turn, have they not? And perhaps we should talk about that another day in greater depth and do it justice. Oh, this was a good one. North Americans choosing Portugal for Thanksgiving Day. I did like the look of this one, and I'll share that with you now. 18% of North Americans named Portugal as one of the destinations to consider for Thanksgiving Day. I thought, first of all, that 18% of North Americans were coming to Portugal for Thanksgiving Day. That could cause quite a stir at the airport, couldn't it? And for the for Seth. So yeah, it's one of the top 10 destinations, and Portugal appears among the 10 most sought after international destinations by North Americans to spend a few days vacation for Thanksgiving, according to data from Forward Keys, whoever they are. But thank you, Forward Keys, for finding out. This list is led by El Salvador, would you believe, a destination that registers a 51% increase over the same period in 2019. The Virgin Islands in second place, while the top three closed with Costa Rica, which is 43% up. Portugal is in ninth place, thanks to the increase in interest from North Americans, according to Forward Keys behind this survey. US travelers are starting to feel more confident in long-distance travel. You know what? And somebody's saying it there in the comments, let's go, Brandon. Never far away from that. That's somebody in Lisbon as well. Good heavens. Right. Is that what you shout as you're flying off to another part of the world to celebrate Thanksgiving? Okay, that there, folks, is the Portugal news briefly. And I will now go to the Portugal residents, see what they got to say for themselves this morning. And then a really nice thing that came via George Branco, whose COVID coverage I used to feature quite a lot, actually. Not so much in recent times, but as I saw his email into my inbox, and I was interested to flick through it. And his COVID coverage is very good. I think he's a proper journalist, if such a thing still exists. And he's pretty good with his coverage, and he's got a nice little twist in the tail, and finally kind of thing where he covers a positive story, which I'm going to do thanks to him. So let's have a look at this. Portugal illegal homes increased by another 11,000 through pandemic. That's fascinating, isn't it? Crisis brought by the pandemic has facilitated the return of illegal homes, writes Espresso this weekend, particularly in large cities. And you may have seen these around the place: shacks, camps, prefabricated buildings, even commercial premises transformed into unlicensed lodging are the new homes by those disinherited by the pandemic. Well, people got to live somewhere, right? And the remarkable thing for me is the ingenuity when you look at some of these homes that people have improvised. Quite incredible. And yeah, I don't blame them. Thousands join CGTP demo in Lisbon, demanding higher salaries. Pediatric working group reactivated to advise on COVID vaccines for over fives. And Algarve, apparently region of highest COVID incidents with community transmission of Delta subvariant. Are you keeping up with your variants and subvariants? And that's been the case before, isn't it? In the Algarve, I believe, if I remember rightly. It's just been so long now, isn't it? And so dense with all the twists and turns and information. Are we officially in a state of COVID pandemic fatigue now, I wonder. President Marcelo rules out possibility of new state of emergency, which we looked at last week, which is great, isn't it? So Portugal doing well, government doing well on this in relative terms, looking at what else is going on around Europe at the moment. So let's look at that story brought to my attention very quickly. Thanks to George Branco. We'll run those titles and look forward to speaking to Gilda after 9. Yeah, I might have to run this over into 9 o'clock. Such good news. This is something called up farming, rotating vertical farms. Let me put it on the screen for you so you can see what I'm talking about, and then tease you with George Branco's talk of it. Yeah, like I said, good coverage. George Branco, Jorge Branco.substack.com. That's his Substack where he's reporting on the pandemic and has done throughout. Great job, George. Nice to be reacquainted with you. And he does some in brief news as well as the serious stuff. Rapid antigen tests are free at pharmacies again, apparently. Air pollution linked to 5,710 premature deaths in Portugal in 2019, beg your pardon, 2019. And that's serious, isn't it? It's kind of hidden behind the pandemic currently. New car deliveries delayed up to a year. Used car prices skyrocket because of those global computer chip shortages. And that's for second-hand car prices up 15 to 20%, apparently. Oh, my goodness. Mine nearly conked out in Alcobaça yesterday. I've got a little bit of clutch left, which I need to get sorted out. Apologies to anybody whose way I got in Alcobaça yesterday. Drove all the way there. Actually, I'll do this after the news. Drove all the way there, and then the clutch had warmed up to a point where it's a little bit dodgy. I thought I'd lost my first gear, but it turns out I think it's a clutch problem. And went up a hill. We thought, we can't stay. This is ridiculous. Got to go home. And then couldn't get up the hill. So rolled back down and did this 3 times, I think, before we managed to struggle home. So a little bit of clutch left, but I still might be able to sell it for 15 to 20% higher than I would have done last year, according to that news story. Oh, yeah, Mercedes, if you're watching, if you do want to sponsor a Good Morning Portugal car, with delivery, driven by a bumper sticker on the back, Gumpers do it every morning. Mercedes Portugal, reach out, right? Get your people talking to my people. Let's get a Good Morning Portugal Mercedes on the road, shall we? I could do with that right now. Okay, let me just roll the 9 o'clock sequence for you, and hopefully Gilda will be with us sometime after 9. But I'm going to continue with this wonderful up farming piece. So here we go. Again, sit back, relax, enjoy this, soak it up, and whistle along, why don't you? Still love that. And yeah, for that person who was worried about the new, more serious, that's 8:30 till 9. That's just the news and weather herald fanfare. And of course, we're not going to give up that theme tune easily. 9 o'clock now. We're into the visa update hour. No sign of Gilda just yet. Probably working hard and will squeeze us into her schedule very soon. Can't hear the show. That was Taxi. So in Suze's picture, that lovely dog is Taxi. Taxi is barking and keeping them safe, the pair of them, from groundskeepers daring to work during the GMP. I think we'll see if we can get this onto the screen for you, of Taxi having a word with the people outside the house. There you go. Isn't that great? Oh, that's a proper dog bark, is that? Oh, fantastic. And the sunrise in Hertfordshire. I'll play that for you in just a moment, but we've got a sunrise in... Oh, that's such a British picture, Ian. We'll bring that for you in just a moment as well. Probably let's save these until after Gilda's gone into the office. I think I heard her just arrive. She might be ringing on the doorbell. Coming back to that in just a moment. Oh, and some good news. Thank you, James. I've just re-sparked up WhatsApp here from living in Portugal. We've got some great news. I think it probably does need verification, but good news nonetheless. My goodness. And looking out of Deagle's window there. Thanks for all of those, folks. I'll share those with you in just a moment. Let's bring Gilda on now. Good morning to you, Gilda Pereira from Assessoria Immigrant. How are you?
Hello, good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. I hit the ground right. Well, I was a bit sleepy and tired, but half an hour later, I'm much better. Thank you, Gilda. How are you?
Really?
How was your weekend? Yes. How are you? How was your weekend?
Yeah, my
Let's
weekend was fine
great.
and I'm fine. I feel
Good.
fresh new for the week.
Excellent stuff. And you've got a new light, I think, behind you. Is that going to be enough light when you're working at your desk? That's pretty serious. That looks like something from a football ground.
Yeah, it's going to be enough light.
Okay, that's what Cristiano uses for training at the stadium. So, what's new? Anything new from Seth, or are we just carrying on regardless and carrying on as usual? Any updates from the world in the big?
No, there aren't any updates
No
at
updates
the moment.
except.
No.
All right, just personal ones then. So James is asking here. Should
Yeah.
we just go? Should we go straight into it, or would you like to tell us a little bit about your weekend, or was it a restful one?
Yeah, I had some family getting together and some kids' birthdays.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
okay.
and
Oh, that's interesting. Kids' birthdays then in Portugal. I mean, to you that's just normal. Do you think there are differences? How would a traditional children's birthday look like here in Portugal, Gilda? Is it all down to the wacky warehouse? Is it at home? Is it over at grandma's? What do you do?
there are always two parties. Okay,
Okay.
one for the kids from the school,
Oh,
which is usually at our home, and then one at the grandmother's with all the family.
oh, so okay, it is round to grandma's then. That's good.
Yeah,
Very good. And one keeping up appearances with all the colleagues from the class.
exactly.
And classroom politics, even at that age, I suspect. My goodness, yeah, that's very, very interesting, isn't it? How all of that works out for parents and children alike. Who gets invited, who doesn't? Is the best thing to do just to invite everybody? Is that how it is in Portugal? The whole class gets invited?
Uh, when uh, when they are little at the elementary school, yes, but then when they get older, they pick their own friends.
Yes, as you might expect. Okay, that's nice to know that. Thank you very much indeed.
Yes, and
And
I have a special
oh,
special thanks to the Berganza family. They are part of the community because they just arrived from Qatar, and they are Indians, but they live in Qatar for such a long time.
oh,
And they did all the process with us. It's a family of five, and they've just arrived. So they went to the office and they bring lots of presents. And one of them I want well, actually, two of them I want to show you. One
oh,
because
go on.
it's very funny. It's something like this. It's a
Oh,
bell.
yeah,
It says
yeah,
Qatar, and
yes,
you do like this. You're seated on the couch watching the game. You do like this.
yeah.
Someone brings you the beer, and then you just open it.
That's really good. Every house should have one of those, shouldn't they?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think so. It's
Okay.
very useful. Yeah.
Okay. And
And
what's
the
the other one?
other one, it's a
Yeah.
special for me.
Oh, look at that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's very nice. Yeah, I really
And
loved it. And they
yes.
didn't forget the kids also. They also bought presents for the kids. They were so lovely, and I was so touched by this family that I really wanted to say thanks.
Well, I'm glad you have. That's the Braganza family, did you say?
Yeah, the Berganza family.
That's as in the Portuguese district, Braganza?
No, yeah, more or less, but with the Z at
Okay,
the
interesting.
end.
So a little bit of a Portuguese connection there, which is oh, nice mug.
Hmm.
Okay, excellent stuff. Are you drinking your coffee larger because of the mug now? or is it just the
No, I
tiniest?
already did. I
Oh, did
already
you?
did.
You're in
Yeah.
the American. You're in the American style of a
Yeah,
longer
I
coffee.
am.
Okay, these Americans are changing you, Gilda, moving you away from the espresso into the bigger, longer coffee. Okay, we do have some questions then from James, who is safely here, it has to be said, but just doing a bit of a check here. Bon dia, Gilda. Would you please remind us again of the documentation we will need for our initial CEF residency appointment? Also, does CEF have a checklist for this, like VFS has for visas? Good question, James. Thank you.
Yes, they have a checklist in their website. Maybe the website it's not that easy and to find, but what you will need it's going to be the rental agreement, the health insurance, um, rental
It's like
agreement,
being
health
a
insurance,
mastermind.
bank statements from Portugal.
Yep.
Bank statements from Portugal, and there is one missing. Uh,
I
what do
like
you
the
call
quiz.
it?
I feel like I should have some music or a little sound effect in the background, like a quiz show. What do you need? I'm going to have to. Is that
But
your
it's
final?
basically the rental agreement,
Yep.
the bank statements for the Portuguese bank,
Yep.
because all the other information they would have, and the health insurance. Ah, and the
Okay.
NIF, of course. I was
Underneath,
forgetting the NIF.
it's so
Yeah,
ubiquitous. We almost forgot because
yeah.
us Portuguese people just have that. It's just part of our body almost. The NIF number, which I'm sure you've got, James, but you'll probably need your little finances a piece of paper with that on there as the verification. So there you go, James. Sounds like he's limbering up for a CEF appointment and needs to know. And if someone goes online, then Gilda, will they be able to look at a checklist on the CEF website?
Yeah, but it's so difficult to find it that I can't even tell you how to do it because even myself I struggle a little bit to get there.
Okay. So technically, yes, they do have a checklist, but
Yeah,
it might be good to work with a pro. The thing that we say, is if you work with professionals in this regard, they are going to and from these meetings. They know what actually is needed in practice, in reality, which is often very different to the official version of life that you will see on websites. So work with the pros and get that inside track, and you will know exactly what you need to take from people who are in regular contact with these organisations. So there you go, James. I'm sure that helps. Peter Shemidit. Sorry, that really threw me. Peter Shemidit there. Morning, beautiful people. Well, morning, right back at you there, beautiful person, Peter. I haven't watched your live in the last 1 to 2 months. I was wondering if any change happened in the D7 in the last 2 months. Could you please give us a quick update about the D7 itself? Well done, Peter. And I think there isn't really a change. You're urging more income, proof of more income, aren't you? And it's definitely 12 months on the lease agreement. Have I got that right, Gilda, or have things
yes, you did. Yes,
changed?
you
Okay,
did.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
And these aren't necessarily official changes. They're just good things to do, right? Safe things
Yeah.
that you're finding in your company's experience that are good to show the government.
Yeah, and I may say that some consulates got a little bit difficult to work with. I guess that Eastern Europe is a little bit afraid of you know lots of migration from the east. So working with the Iranian consulate, Islamabad consulate, and the consulate that attends Lebanon, it's becoming very difficult.
Right.
And even though people fulfill all the requirements, it's becoming a nightmare. They just deny for no apparent reason.
Okay.
So we just need to keep making appeals and appeals. And at a certain point, either people give up or they give up and grant the visas.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, what an awful situation to be in, but I guess that goes with
Yeah.
the territory in many ways. So yeah, I guess that's a reflection of the uncertainty in the world, doesn't isn't it? You know
Yes.
how some countries are responding to that. Okay, Rebel Mum are getting excited about seeing Viana do Castelo. I think on the weather map. Well, we're doing that. Don't you worry, Rebel Mama.
Mhm.
We will feature your weather maybe tomorrow. Well, let's have a look tomorrow. Thank you, Gilda, in advance. Cheers. So, Peter, I hope that helps there. And let's see what else have we got coming in on the visa update. Gilda Pereira live with us here every Monday morning. Gary Austin, Gilda, what wood is the best recommended? No, hold on a minute. That's not. We. She doesn't advise on that, for heaven's sakes. Okay, I think we'll check in on that later on. And I know there are. Oh yes, we have 74 Castle, whose name I saw earlier on. D7 query then, and is that Chevy Chase? One main applicant and a plus one. So 24,750 is the new Portuguese minimum wage there, plus 25, half of that, 50% of that, equals 27,000. Is that so? That's still your recommendation to have that much to show in the bank?
Yes, and he's putting a little plus on the Portuguese minimum wage. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Does this need depositing into a new Portuguese bank account prior to VFS appointment in London, or prior to CEF, or both? So the sequencing of that. When does it need to go in the Portuguese bank, please, Gilda?
Prior to the VFS and
Okay.
prior to CEF, both.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. And, yes, a nice little surge in the Portuguese GDP every time that happens. And also, how does reunification, how does that work? Thank you so much. 74 Castle supplementary question there.
Yeah. For the time being, it doesn't work, as you
Oh dear.
know.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. They
So
are
when you say
suspending.
that, that's because there are no appointments being given.
There are
Is
no appointments.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But as I told in the show before, I guess that they are going to open in the 1st of January or the 2nd of January. And it works like this. Once you have your resident permit, or even before that, once you have your visa and you have your resident permit appointment, you are able to book your family's um, appointment for the resident permit.
Hmm.
Okay, and then you need to go with them and your resident permit, and they need to bring all the documents that show that they are your family, such as birth certificates and marriage certificates, and those need to be they need to be fresh, 6 months fresh, and with an apostille on
Okay.
it.
Yep. Any
That's how
indications,
it
Gilda,
works.
when the appointments might open up? What are the government saying?
My guess it's January.
Okay, new year, new government, possibly. Bon dia from David. Hello, David. How are you, mate? And great questions coming in. Thank you very much, Capricorn, reminding us to smash that like button. Well, he says hit it. I think he normally says smash it. Pamela's here as well. Good morning to you, Pam. Bon dia to you. I choose to use Thanksgiving as an opportunity to consciously and intentionally remember to be grateful. Yeah, Thanksgiving's coming up. For me, it is not a celebration of the mythical first harvest. Will you be celebrating Thanksgiving this year, Gilda? Have you taken that in as part of your celebratory routine of a year?
No, not yet. We don't have that habit, as you know.
It's going to
For
keep.
us, it's
It's going to
Christmas.
make a much more of an impact, though, isn't it? I think in these coming years here in Portugal.
I think so. I'm already drinking long coffee, so
What next? I wonder. So, American viewers, what do you think is going to happen next? I was going to. We used to have this feature, Gilda, called "You Know You're Portuguese When," and this is for expats. They know they're becoming Portuguese when a certain thing happens. And tell me if this is right, because I was tidying away in the kitchen this morning, and I put the canela, the cinnamon, away, and I thought, you know, you're Portuguese when you've got canela on your worktop, on your countertop. I mean, that's a sign of me becoming Portuguese, isn't it? I didn't have that in UK.
oh, that you're becoming Portuguese.
There you go. So how will we know when Gilda is becoming more American? She started drinking. She started drinking long coffee, as you can see, and I think we do have an espresso, a little espresso cup as well in the merch range. But what do you think if she says she might be having the old cheeky Thanksgiving dinner next? What other signs are we looking for, American folks who are tuned in this morning, to see if Gilda is becoming American or your influence rubbing off on her? Brian is here as well. Brian, he took bon dia. Gilda previously advised not to change name if we get married before moving to Portugal, but then how to prove connection for family reunification for wife as EU citizen and husband not EU citizen. So what to do in that situation?
Doesn't need to change the name. He will have a marriage certificate.
Yeah, other
That's
ways
the
of
way
proving
to
it.
prove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And I was very proud of myself. Somebody asked a question on our webinar last week about is it going to be a problem that these people were in a domestic partnership, not married? And I said, don't get married now because it's going to cause you a lot of problems with name changes and stuff. I mean, I wasn't saying to them don't get married at all. I said get married when you get to Portugal, have a party, invite everyone from this community. That'd be great. But it can cause problems, right? If you get married suddenly before your visa
No,
process.
they can get married. It's just that they might want to choose not to change the name, or
Okay.
are they obliged to change the name?
I
No.
think, well, I actually don't know in their circumstance, but I just foresaw a bureaucratic nightmare that if their name was changed on their passport but not something else, it could cause unnecessary problems. So my suggestion,
That can cause, but
yeah,
if they can get married and don't change the names on their documents. That would be
okay.
my advice.
And that's why I should never give advice to people on these matters. Thank you for that reminder. Bon dia, Alegria, on target for a Feb 2022 move. Nice one, Mike. My goodness, what's going on at where you're living right now? I noticed that on Facebook, that Dasha, is that how you say it? Dasha doing some quite good lease deals for around €245 a month, which includes servicing, maintenance, inspections, and rotor. That's talking about the rising cost of second-hand cars. Did you know that, Gilda, in Portugal, because of this chip shortage, microchip shortage in cars, second-hand cars have gone up to between 15 and 20%. So
Oh,
the old
really?
well, yes, they're worth more than they were a year or two ago. Okay, talking about Amazon still as well there in the comments, and I'm sure we've got other visa inquiries. Gilda with us every Monday, of course. Jim's asking, have you seen any issues with visas being granted from the embassy in Germany?
No, I didn't. They usually are very efficient.
Yeah, as you might expect. Very good. Okay, Jim. That's good news, isn't it? Oh, Andy the Doc Thompson's here. You on this week, Doc? Hola, bon dia, camaradas y todos. Driving, so no more texting. Yes, stop it, Doc. But thank you for saying hi. I would like to congratulate my brother on his first win on the dartboard in the man cave last night after a nail-biting finish on the bullseye. Very local celebrations and much gesturing ensued. Lol. Well, congratulations, Terence. What does he win exactly? Can you send a picture of that? Marvelous news. We love to share it all. Bondi. Oh, yeah. Any more local news, folks? Thanksgiving dinners, of course. Principios that we should see. We're really getting into the Christmas spirit now, aren't we, Gilda? I think it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas in Lisbon, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It is. Isn't it
With all
lovely?
the lights and
Yes.
everything.
Now, am I right in thinking it's a bit early? I mean, don't these things normally start on the 1st of December, or is Portugal just doing it earlier and earlier?
I think I agree with you. It's
Yeah.
becoming earlier and earlier. This year
Yeah.
it was very early. I think it was from the 1st of November they started putting
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. And what I thought about that was maybe, after such a difficult couple of years, people were thinking, come on, let's celebrate, let's do something nice. So they couldn't wait to get the decorations out. And it is really, I mean, wherever you go in Portugal now, the lights are coming out, the Principios are being set up. It's very beautiful. It's all starting to happen. Christmas will not be cancelled here, I can assure you. Bon dia. Can my family be within Portugal on tourist visas whilst waiting for reunification? Or they have to apply in the country of permanent residence? Good question, Alex.
Very good question. They are allowed to come with you, and the family reunification is applied from Portugal, so they
Yeah.
can come with you and apply it here.
Very good. Good to know, Alex. Thank you for that. Simply dealt with there. Hi, Gilda from Chris here, Capricorn 12. Tis an easy one. What drama are you watching on Netflix now? Gloria was great. Have you
I'm
seen it
watching
through?
Gloria.
You're still on it?
Yeah, I'm watching Gloria now. Only two episodes to finish. Yeah, I think it's great. It's the Portuguese series on the Netflix. I think you are going to like it too, Carl.
Okay, I'll start watching it. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I was intrigued by the storyline and the fact that it was shot up near Rebel Mama's Way. So yes, I will be watching that. Any suggestions for what Christian might go on to next on because this is a first, isn't it? I mean, it's a big deal for Portugal to have a
Yes,
Netflix of this scale. Do you think there's going to be more?
I think so because this one was quite good.
Big success, okay, with a big appeal, of course, with so many people speaking Portuguese around the world. I think Netflix are onto something there.
Yeah,
So
but they don't speak only Portuguese. It's like half Portuguese, half English because of
is
the
it?
Americans. Yeah.
That's good. I'm definitely watching it. I'm definitely watching it. Then that's great. I'm glad to know that. Bom dia, Gilda. What rental service do you provide now? Was Jim asked before, or somebody else did? But yes, Casa Portuguesa. Can you tell us more, please, Gilda?
Yeah, yeah, of course. We provide rental services and also house hunting services. Um, it works like this. You tell us what kind of accommodation you are looking for. We send you some kind of links, and then we go with you to the limit of 5 visits, and then we make the negotiation with the landlord. We check on the rental agreement, and then we can help you with the utilities also, reminding that we don't have any um, real estate places available. So what we do is that we help you on this search in another real estate agencies.
Okay, okay. So you're basically a full service to help people find somewhere to live,
Yeah.
which can often be a challenging part of obviously finding the lease, the 12-month lease, and making sure that you're moving into somewhere that looks a little bit like the photographs that they showed you of it, of the landlords or whatever. So that's great.
Yes.
Thank you. Jim, any more questions about that? Maya Utush TV. I wonder what that is. I have a 40K, 40 grand in USA dollars there. I have a wife and a child. Can we get residence permits if we migrate to Portugal? Well, that's a good start, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good start, but we would need to know more. We need to know what is going to be the monthly income,
Yeah.
because this looks like savings. It's okay, but we need to know the monthly income.
Hmm. There you go, Maya. Ask more if you need further clarification on that. I can't really help with this one in the way of Islam. There,
No.
that's a bit beyond me. I do apologise, and I hope I'm not putting anything too controversial on the screen there. I'm getting married on Thursday. Congratulations! Hey,
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of my visa application, says Steph. With Gilda and Co. I'm keeping my name, so it shouldn't be an issue. Sorry if I've caused
Yeah, yeah,
unnecessary
great,
concern.
great.
Okay. So that's the way to do it, isn't it? And in the way of Islam continues there. I mean, there's a beauty,
I
isn't
hope
there?
that's a compliment.
I hope it's a compliment as well. We'll find out, won't we? I suspect. Is it correct that if you have served in the military in another country, i.e., the UK, you cannot obtain Portuguese citizenship? What? That's the first I've ever heard that question,
No,
Mike.
it's not correct. It's not correct.
Right. I wonder where that's come from. I suppose, I mean, this is something we don't often talk about, because obviously you can help people. And with our Expats Portugal plan, we help people. Um, but that's within the government guidelines. You know, you can't help people come to the country if they don't fit the criteria that the government set. And of course, that would involve criminal behaviour. You know, you've got to have a clean criminal record, and maybe that's what's being referred to there. Maybe if there was some sort of bad military record, that could be a problem. But then that would be a legal issue and not a military one, I suspect. I don't know. But where do you think that question might have come from?
I don't know, maybe
Really know.
sometimes they pick rules from other countries and they think the same applies in Portugal. So maybe that could
Oh,
be the case.
I see. Yes. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. So maybe that's the case for another country if you served in the military. I wonder why that would be. Why there would be that sort of a kind of prejudice, really, isn't it? If it was voluntary service, you cannot. At least that's what is in the law. So if it was a voluntary service in the army, so this is new to me. I don't think we quite got of the right handle on this, have we, Gilda?
I have to check on the law, but I
The
don't
original
have
is
this
if you
present
serve in
on
the
me.
military in another country, i.e. the UK, you cannot obtain Portuguese citizenship, not residency, being the key there. I think if that's what you mean by
Yeah, no, but even though it's, I don't know,
it.
in my office, Claudia takes care of the citizenship, so I will talk to her and then
Yeah, that looks
I
like
will
it's
let you
news to
know.
Elra as well. Why is
Yeah,
that? Do you know? She's saying there. David Durham saying happy EI customer. Thanks, Gilda and team, popping in to say hi. Thanks, David. That's always nice to hear
thank
that.
you.
Eusebio, the prof. Oh, who is this in the picture, Gilda? Do we know?
No.
Okay, Gilda, not a D7 question. I'm going to live in a house with my father. I'm going to live in a house my father owns initially. What would be normal way to show proof to organisation like banks, etc., that you live somewhere in this way? Oh, I see. So possibly the challenge there for the prof is that he is not the owner of the house himself, but he wants to get utilities and a bank account based there. Father needs to do attestado. Is that right?
Yes, I'm going to live in a house of my. Okay, so I understand that the father owns the house
Yeah.
and she needs to prove
Yeah,
for the other entities. Okay.
it's a he. It's Eusebio pretending to be a well, not pretending, but has put a female
Um,
picture up.
okay.
Confusing us there. Tell us what you're trying to do,
Okay.
Eusebio. I
What
think.
what I do in these cases is that there is a contract that it's called contrato de comodato. Okay. And this means that someone is borrowing you the house, so
Ah.
and is letting you living there. And
Mm,
with this contract, you can go to the city hall or you can go to junta and to get an atestado de residência.
okay. So there we go. What was it called again, please, Yoda?
Contrato de comodato.
Okay. And then how is that mediated? Does a lawyer produce that for you, or do you get it from
Yes,
finances?
yes.
It's produced by a law person. Okay. There you go, Prof. Who is that lady in the picture? There, Gilda. What duration for accommodations and health insurance? Going back to James's earlier question for Seth.
For the health insurance, 6 months should be enough. For the accommodation, 1 year.
1 year. There you go. Muito obrigado, Gilda, from Alex for your answer there. Gloria was great. Says Rebel Mama. I watched all of it. Binge that bad boy then. I watched all of it right when it came out. Lol. And in the way of Islam, we got a translation now. Assalamu alaikum to you as well. Malaikum salam. How are you? Portugal agricultural visa will be introduced at what time? And when will the Indian Portuguese embassy open? Well, news just in. What is this that in the way of Islam speaks of? The Portugal agricultural visa. What is that, Gilda?
I don't know. It's something that they've been discussing, but I don't see any changes. And now the government is changing, so I don't see any changes coming soon in the migration law.
Okay, and this is for agricultural workers or entrepreneurs starting an agricultural business?
agricultural workers,
Okay.
making it easier.
Yeah, because I mean, we have a lot of agricultural workers coming into Portugal for sure, don't we? So this is aimed at that particular type of person who wants to come in and get a visa on that basis. Okay, so not great news, no change there by the sound of it. Sorry, we can't help more. And well, when will the Indian Portuguese embassy open? Do we know the answer to that?
We don't know, but they are not 100% closed. They pretend that they are closed, but then if you go there and say I have my process ready, they will say let us take a look at your process, and
Hmm.
then they take a look at the process. If everything is good, it will take like double or triple of the time that it should take, but they will process it.
Wow. Okay. Thanks for that, Gilda. And going back to this military personnel citizenship thing, no idea, says Antonio F. But if the person was conscripted, it's okay. So if you joined by your own choice, that seems to be the problem, Mike. But we're going to find out, aren't we, Gilda? We'll get back to you on
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Next week I
Obviously,
will.
yeah, if there was nothing you could do about it and you were conscripted, then I think it sounds like that's more in your favour. Gloria was an excellent drummer, and also an interesting overview of Portuguese politics at the time. Thanks, Prof.
Yeah,
Mandy, bon dia, Gilda and team. We hope to be in Portugal by Christmas. Won't that be beautiful?
yeah.
It will be as if the lights were put out for you, Mandy, and or put up, I should say, not put out. Put up for you to celebrate your arrival. I hope that's not true about foreign military service. So we need to get to the bottom of this, don't we? My military history was never asked for or looked into, says James there. So all these military people thinking, what? I didn't know anything about that. In the way of, so we got that. Thanks for you, Savio, for that translation. Wow, what a world we live in, eh?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I came across this during my research on the Portuguese government website, says Mike Campion. Okay, so we'll have a look at that. We'll definitely go into the background of that, and we'll update you again next week, if not before. It could be related to spying. Is Fever Stock Photos guest there? Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? And Mike Campion, if it's on an official government website, I guess it's right, says Elra. So a bit of a
Yeah.
surprise for Elra as well. And Victoria's been using the train. Thanks for the CP info to Antonio. Had a fun train trip to Lagos yesterday. It was on time and very enjoyable. I'm so pleased to hear that. Traveling on trains in Portugal, I've found splendid. Thanks, Gilda, as well, from the prof there. And we still don't know who that is in the picture, do we? So Bryony Took, thanking you as well. I think that's it for today, Gilda. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll come
Thank
back
you.
again next Monday and do it all again, and with a particular view to answering that new thing that's come up for us that we've never discussed or
Never
I've never
came
heard of.
across.
No, interesting. Yes, speaking of Gloria, referring to the spying comment. Yes, there's all these sort of spying in here this morning, and an obrigadissimo. That's a nice one, isn't it? An
Thank you.
obrigadissimo to Gilda from James as well. Gilda, have a lovely day at the office, and love to all the team there. And we look forward to seeing you again next week with the old military update, finding out what you've been up
Thank
to at the
you.
weekend, and have a great week. Boa semana.
Boa semana. Bye bye.
Boa
Have fun.
semana. Ciao. There she goes, Gilda Pereira,
Bye.
everybody, on the way to the Christmas lights in Portugal. It is looking lovely. It is. And I'm glad she agrees with me, concurs that it seems to be getting earlier every year. But I guess that would be the trend. I suppose it's an economic thing as well, isn't it? You know, the marketing machinery around Christmas is in some way making up for loss of income and earnings, and boosting the GDP back up everywhere where Christmas or anything else is celebrated, for that matter. Okay, interesting morning, especially with that Mike Campion question there. If you take Portuguese citizenship, is it true that you can have dual nationality and have a Portuguese EU and keep your UK passport? I believe that's the case, Gary. Sorry, I didn't see that in time to ask that, but just see you next Monday, Gary. Come back and ask that. Well, obviously, we're seeing you on Thursday as well to have the man chat. I think I'm going to call it the man chat for Thursday. Thanks, Gilda, as well, from Chris. That pic of the woman who you don't know could be an American folk singer. That's my guess. That is a good guess. fever stock photo. Good to have your company. You joined us on Saturday night, didn't you? Now, I want to share with you up farming, okay? I was rabbiting too much. Look at that. Isn't that a fantastic picture there? That sort of architectural visualization. And I was chatting too much before 9 to squeeze this in. A good news story, going back to the news segment, really, and something I wasn't able to feature properly. Up farming, okay? And this, my friends, thanks to George Branco, is healthy, resilient, sustainable cities through rotating vertical farms. Now, clearly, Portugal, central Portugal, has a lot of great agricultural land, but this is a solution that George Branco brought to my attention in his recent email newsletter. Okay, so this is a fascinating thing that's going on here, and a nice. I had beetroot last night. Actually, you always got to remember when you've been eating beetroot, haven't you? That you're not seriously ill the day after. What are the challenges of our food system? Growing urban populations. So apparently 80% of all food will be consumed in cities by 2050. Now, on that matter, I sincerely hope that is not the case. I'm not peeing on the chips of these people, of the fried potatoes that they may well be growing. But, I'm hoping that there'll be a renaissance and regeneration in central Portugal. And this whole smart cities thing will not be I know it's a bit of it's megalomaniac, fantasist, great reset sort of thing, isn't it? To push everybody into the cities. That said, clearly a lot of people will continue to live in cities, and they need feeding. So there's not enough land or water for our current food production systems to meet the growing demand of urban populations. And COVID-19 has demonstrated the vulnerability of global supply chains and emphasized the need to be locally resilient. So very good in relation to that particular challenge for humanity. Urban health and well-being, 35% apparently of European children are overweight and rising. So the percentage is rising rather than the children, because I don't think they're getting taller as well. The developed world is facing a health crisis from diseases of affluence, such as, isn't that an amazing way of putting it? Such as type 2 diabetes and obesity, which disproportionately affects the poorest in society. And most people are totally alienated from the health and environmental impacts of their dietary choices. Okay, and climate crisis. 55% EU greenhouse gas reduction target for 2030. Conventional agriculture, they say at Up Farming, requires, look at that aubergine, wow, requires unsustainable amounts of fossil fuels and other non-renewable resources. It causes pollution. How is it that a vegetable can give so much pleasure? It causes pollution, soil erosion, desertification, and loss of habitats. Our solution, says Up Farming, is rotating vertical farms in the heart of urban communities. Look at them. They're rotating in front of your very eyes on the screen there, folks. That's real pretty, isn't it? I like this. Me and Mrs. M have been experimenting with, what's it called? Hydroponics, aquaponics, indoor growing for a long time now, since we were back in the UK. And we've given it a couple of goes here as well. And I like the cut of this jib here. It's a rotating system. It includes irrigation and sunlight by the look of it. They are small greenhouses. So you've got that polytunnel effect as well. This allows us to grow in small greenhouses instead of warehouses or containers with LED arrays. So they're using a greenhouse system. It's a plus for the environment, since we need no packaging or transport to bring our crops from tower to table. That's their catchphrase, from tower to table. There's a health plus by minimizing the time from consumption to harvest, or the other way around. We preserve the maximum nutritional value of every plant. And my mouth is watering just talking about healthy plants. What's going on there? Okay. Community modularity allows us to build small, decentralized vertical farms situated in the heart of urban communities. 10 times higher yields, 50% less energy, 50% less labor, and 90% less water. My goodness. So it's looking very hydroponic, isn't it? And I think where was I in Portugal where I saw them building this, I think. But I'm very excited about this. It's growing in fields, growing in nature, I think the supreme and proper and ultimate way. But this is a pretty good second best, isn't it? And I've invited them for interview because I'd love to talk to them some more about this. I love it. So there you go. A lovely website as well, very nicely done. And these are the sort of things that can be grown in. This will keep you going, wouldn't it? Basil, manjarico, beetroot, thyme, strawberries. You can grow thyme. they've challenged the conundrum, and they've created time on these up farming rigs. Strawberries, spinach, spinafres. That looks like which kind of spinach is that? I've got used to a very different kind of spinach. Had it last night with my fish from the market. The espinafres, very different to the flat spinach, isn't it? Sage you can grow, rosemary, very good for herbs and salads. Red mizuna, rabanech, radishes, radicchio, lettuce there, salsa, parsley, pak choy, hortela, mint, tagach, which are marigolds. Marigolds, that's an edible flower then, presumably. It's certainly good for pest control, isn't it? Don't forget tonight, Lee mentioned this earlier on, the gardening Q&A at 6:15. I think we'll take another look at this then and see what the head gardener makes of it. So alfalfa, traditional lettuce, kale, very good for you, right? Kale, those kale chips that you can make in the oven. Love those. Funcho, which is, what is that thing there? Fennel, and annetto. Is that another sort of aniseedy thing? I'm not sure what an annetto is. So no synthetic materials or GMO, locally sourced materials, integrated pest and disease management. Loving it. So they do it all, design and installation, community engagement. That's a really important thing. Wouldn't it be great if a community came together to work on this thing? And is that the Gulbenkian there where they were erecting one? Maybe that's where I saw it. Hortas de Lisboa exhibition. So the gardens of Lisboa, from sky to table, from tower to table, and all their highfalutin partners there to make this thing happen. And there they are. Maybe we will speak to Margarida Villas-Boas or Bruno Lacey at some point on the show. But there's the lovely team behind this. Isn't that amazing? Upfarming.org if you want to find out more about up farming. Marvelous. Okay, let's see what you're saying in the comments as well this morning. No one's talking about their weekend, are they? Interestingly, it sounds to me like you can still get citizenship after living here for 5 years regardless. Okay, going back to that point about military personnel or ex-military personnel. If you were born in Portugal, if you have Portuguese parents or grandparents, if you're married to Portuguese citizens, if you have been legally residing in Portugal for the last 5 years. So talk continuing there. It begins, as a rule, you can request the Portuguese nationality in any of these cases. Okay. Yes, Elra suspecting they don't want diplomatic conflicts. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And we'll get to the bottom of this with Gilda next Monday, of course. The Aljube Museum in Lisboa has a Women in the Revolution section. Great museum, worth going. And I suspect that is the picture we're talking about that the prof has put up as his YouTube profile pic. Let me just find where we were, where we were talking before. George is here. Hola, Gilda and Carl, right back at you. How are you? And it says, yeah, lots of chat here about catching trains and down there in the south. Chris asking Victoria, did you make it to Mia Praia, that lovely long beach by the train station? They have a lovely restaurant there. The Bahia is my favorite. Ask for Vera. That's a great recommendation, isn't it? Please do that, folks, and tell them where you heard it first. Thanks from Eusebio. Yes, a few thanks for Gilda there. And but more talk of Glory as well on Netflix too. And is she an American folk singer or not? We're about to find out, I think. Re-upped Netflix until I spend too much time scrolling. Gloria on my list for language and looking at location. I wonder if production would hire an English speaker. Wonder where to search for that. What's that? Is that getting a job on the production crew? Suze, is that what you're asking? And we will show the video of Taxi barking at the groundskeepers. And what a marvelous mutt you have there. Such a lovely morning, sitting in the sunshine with a café con leite and tosta mista, or tosta mashta. That's a new one on me, if that's indeed what it is and not a typo. Christmas is a seasonal celebration now. It's like summer season. Helps shorten the year going from season to season. I actually love it. That's an interesting way of looking at it. And the question now is if the UK allows dual citizenship. Oh, okay. I beg your pardon. Thank you for that, Elra. And we find out the woman in the picture here, Maria Vela da Costa, 26th of June to 1938 to 23rd of May 2020, was a Portuguese writer who was awarded the Camões Prize Portuguese Literature Prize in 2002, and leader of the Portuguese 70s feminist movement. Okay, forgive me, I did not know who that was. And there, the mystery is solved. Yes, one of the three Marias, Tres Marias. I thought so. Very important women. And we have talked about the three Marias, haven't we? But remind us, will you, if you will, please. Rebel Mama. Houseplant special tonight on Get Out and Grow at 6:15. Thanks for that reminder, Lee McGrady. So we've got planting that looks like a house with up farming. And if you think you can't grow outside, you can grow inside. So we're going to have a bit of a house plant special. Thank you for that reminder, Lee. And let's see. So more talk about citizenship. Yes, we will talk more, obviously, with Gilda on Monday and probably between now and then as well. Nice idea, but I foresee huge commercial areas doing this sort of vertical farming if it proves to be profitable, probably out of town where land is cheaper. So what does that? What do you mean? What's the but there? Is that you just see it being taken over and following the money, honey, with that sort of thing? I like with everything else, Gary the Garvo. Looking forward to your company on Thursday, mate. Let's have a look at what you've been sending in to me then. Thank you for helping each other out in the comments, as you clearly are doing this morning. Yeah, we loved Vera too, Capricorn 12. So ask for Vera. This isn't a Netflix series. This is a person at a bar in Lagos, is it? On the, was it Mia Praia Beach? Amazing. A particular person in a restaurant being celebrated here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Let's put Taxi on the screen for you. This is, I'm thinking this is how a dog should bark. And this is classic stuff from Finland this morning. Here's little Taxi having a pop at the groundskeepers outside, making it impossible to hear the show this morning. Okay, Taxi, you've done your job. Stand down, sir. And we're going to hear you right now whilst we load up a few other things that I think have come through on WhatsApp. And here we go. Here's Taxi.
You tell me. Who's that? Taxi? 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 Olehilia? Mita?
Is he bilingual? Does he speak in a bit of Portuguese and a bit of English, a bit of Finnish there? Amazing. A well done, Taxi. Good boy. Okay, more pictures coming in then. Some ice from, look at this. This is the sort of windscreen I'm glad I don't face anymore in the United Kingdom of a morning. Look at that. You can't see out of it. It's a long time since I've dealt with anything like that, I'm pleased to say. This is Francis's weekend, pretty much. Thank you, Francis, for this. That's what it looked like. Finest lager. What is that? Is that Buffle, Muffle, Tuffle, Waffle? Waffle even. We all sort of waffle a bit more, don't we, when we had a few of them. So what is that? Is that a special Cape Town beer of note? I wonder there, Francis, but it looks like you've had a good weekend, doesn't it? And the Hertfordshire morning this morning. Thank you, Coach Turner, for this. Looking out the window, it does look a bit chilly there, doesn't it? And the sun rising again, shining on the righteous there in Hertfordshire in the UK. And I think that just about does it for this morning, actually. I wonder if I have any more pictures that have come in from you. No, those are mine from earlier on this morning. If you weren't here at the beginning, look at this. The San Martino summer in two ways continues. San Martino de Porto Beach, a couple of my kids there enjoying the late summer, very late summer, right? 21st of November. And it was still beautiful on the beach yesterday. San Martino, in the more general sense, means the summer that we get here in Portugal in November, or the sunny weather that we get here in Portugal in November. In quite a reliable way, it has to be said. Last few comments then as well. Tuffle beer, that is. It's Namibian Tuffle. It means, in Afrikaans, for table. Very good. I think I'm going to scroll up and see some of the other comments I've missed earlier on today. We have land, lots of land with starry skies above. We have land, lots of land with those starry skies above. Don't fence Gavo in central Portugal that need love and attention and someone with a mind for sustainable farming. And I did preface my comments there, Gavo, with, and I was talking to Matt, a new friend Matt at the weekend, who did a stint of regenerative farming in the United States before coming here. And there is a wonderful potential, isn't there, for repopulating, regenerating just kind of re-everything in central Portugal. So you're absolutely right, Garbo, that notwithstanding. Carl, Vera is truly amazing, and so are the rest of... Oh, so is Vera. So are the rest of the team. It is a person, if she is in when you ask, to make Vera's special coffee. It really looks like a storm in a... She's a legend. Maybe we should get her interviewed on the show if she's not too busy, which often people working in restaurants are. But maybe at this time of day, she might be able to say hi to us. Yes, Carl, I have diverse experiences in film and TV, mostly set decoration and props, but was department head, union rep, and line producer once for an indie feature. Possible Portuguese immersion for me. That sounds great. Yes, I would love a coffee, please, Mrs. M. A star of the Feel Good Portugal show on a Saturday night, of course. What's she pointing at? Empty plates that are littering the studio here. Thank you very much. Not usually allowed drinks in studios, you know. But it's ours. We do what we like in here. Okay, when you're back in Portimao is the question to Victoria. It's from Jack to Vic there. And what else have I missed on your comments this morning? Invasion of kids in the studio. That's the way. Oh, so Thunderduck really researching this for us this morning. That's the way I understood the page. So the citizenship and the military connection here. Taxi is a Finnish dog. He's learning English comprehension. I speak some Finn too. Oh, we heard you on there, and I'm just scrolling quite randomly. I don't know if I'm going to be able to cover everything that was said earlier on, because a lot was. It's a bit like when all's said and done, a lot is said, but not much is done. But with the Good Morning Portugal crew, with you Gumpers, a lot of great stuff is said of a morning, and I don't like to miss any of it. So I'm just having a little bit of a scroll through here to see what catches me eye. Going back, way back. Yeah, you see, with people, I mean, we haven't talked about that very much, have we? Do we need to raise the 15 minutes of Portuguese? Because we'll have Mia here on Friday. Do we need to raise it now from 15 minutes to 30 a day? Or 20? Are we, do we go with 5-minute increments and build that up as we get better and better at this? Or do we keep it at that entry level? Because there are new people joining us, of course, and we don't want to overface them. Oh yeah, back to this. It's back to this actually. I have to attend a meeting at 9, so can I submit visa questions early, please? You can. 74 cars and watch the replay. You've probably gone to your meeting now, but we did those for you. Don't worry. What wood is best recommended for wood burners? Oak, olive, pine, eucalyptus. It's like any port in a storm, isn't it? Whatever keeps you warm. But yes, I guess some are better than others. The wood burner was in nuclear reactor mode last night. But was it hot? Was it red hot? Almost white hot. But I just wondered if there's much difference between woods. Lee's your man for that. Do you know what? I'll take that forward to the Q&A tonight. And let me make a note of that, Garvo, because that is a great question. Best word, I'm writing down here. So hopefully, I mean, you made us the titles for that. I wonder if you tune in and watch that. Love that theme that you made for the Get Out and Grow show, which is tonight, every Monday between 6:15 and 7. Desculpe, Carl. He's getting used to that word, isn't he? As we all do. That's sorry, of course, in Portuguese. Sorry, Carl. No pick of the pastry. I was too much in the moment. First ordering, then consuming. Yum. Again, it's a layered yellow cake with whipped cream between and a caramelized topping. Oh, that sounds like the old slice, doesn't it there? Yeah. I think we do need a picture at some point. No hurry. -7 now. Weather in Finland, -7. Doesn't feel that cold. High will be -2. Wow, in south and middle Finland. Quite incredible. So lucky here in Portugal, aren't we? And there was a good morning. There you go. Head of Gardener McGrady. Good morning, people. Garden show tonight. Reminder. So we'll be talking about up farming again. I need to ask his opinion on that. The best wood to burn in the stove and a house plant special. Terence Austin's here as well. Forgot to say this earlier on. Grrr, or a brr and a grrr. Chilly starting out Viagra, but the sun has just shone and I am feeling good. I told you it shines on the righteous, didn't I? The sun there. And yes, maybe that's the note to end it on this morning with that thought. Actually, we'll do that at sunrise for you again. I think that's the right thing to do. And a reminder that the sun shines on the righteous and all the Gumpers of the world, tuned in as you are from all over the world. Hold on a minute. Here's something important to share. Just say no to Native American genocide. Well, why wouldn't you? Seriously, there are many Native Americans who call Thanksgiving Day National Day of Mourning. Some say we just eat turkey. but it perpetuates the myth. Okay, thank you for making that point, Rebel Mama, as well. I appreciate that. And Jack was here early on as well. Bon dia, the sun is coming out. Yeah, if a little cold. Well done, Jack. And yeah, that was a nice sentiment as well, wasn't it? I choose to use Thanksgiving as an opportunity to consciously and intentionally remember to be grateful. For me, it is not a celebration of the mythical first harvest. So repurposed their Thanksgiving. And we'll talk more about that and tell you more about Thanksgiving dinners that are going on around Portugal, of course. Okay, have a great day, everybody. We have a video to play for you. We've got a couple of videos. We've got the standard outro, and I want to share with you again that wonderful sunrise sent in from Victoria, from Lagos this morning. Have a great day. Ciao, ciao. Bye for now.
Good morning from Lagos. We're on the beach.
Beautiful.